in wrestling right here. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. It ain't no doubt. It ain't no doubt. Flair, bring that old cashmere coat out here.
Can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
Welcome to Midday Sports with Rod and Lens Crew. I got Mr. Fifth Down himself, Chris Dietz in here. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, Rod. Post Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too.
Well, hope you celebrated with a good weekend. It was a good weekend. It was a good
barbecue.
weekend.
I had barbecue. My in-laws had a barbecue type style. It was pretty good. It was good. You know, you
Nice.
can't never go wrong with barbecue on Sunday's day.
We did family breakfast and got that shit over by 10 o'clock. So it was great.
You can't never go wrong with, some good old American beef burgers and some hot dogs, some salmon. You can never go with chicken breast either. But everything else was good. What a wild weekend. So we can unpack it. I was watching this show I don't like talking about.
Uh-huh.
I heard some slander about my boy Cam. And I think it is, like, I had an argument with a couple of other channels. I was on ASAP last Thursday after I came on your show. ASAP Sports. I think Cam is better than a lot of quarterbacks. I'm taking over Zach Wilson. I think he's only won. How many quarterbacks that won a Heisman really panned out?
That won the Heisman that panned out. Joe Burrow's doing pretty well.
Then after that, it's a lot of hit or misses. But I think Cam Newton, for the skill sets, I think he made out. I don't consider him a letdown with the things he had to work with.
I heard the discussion. I heard the discussion earlier, and I get it. I get it that they don't like Cam Newton as a person, and that's fine. Like that there's nothing I can say to that or whatever. But you can't put it past Cam Newton. Cam Newton, when you talk about I heard them talking about whether he's a Hall of Famer or not. He's an MVP. He was a season MVP. And yeah, he lost in a Super Bowl game. But that entire season he was really good. And then you throw on top of it, he is the leading rusher in yards and touchdowns from the quarterback position. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. What does the Hall of Fame mean? It means the best to ever do it. It's the best people to ever do it. Well, Cam Newton's the best running quarterback ever. And people want to say, oh, well, Mike Vick would have gotten there. Would have, could have, should have. Cam Newton did it. And that's where you got to sit on Cam Newton. Now, what does Cam Newton give you right now? I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched Cam Newton. I didn't watch Cam Newton. He hasn't played in 2 years. I mean, what does that do for people? So, I don't know.
I just think, people don't give him his flowers when, I think he's one of the best to ever do it. In the circumstances he had, no line, no quality receivers. Steve Smith left.
His best
Greg Olsen was the best.
His best wide receiver was Steve Smith. Steve Smith was 5'6".
At that.
Steve Smith made the most out of being, an undersized, good route runner, great hands. Steve Smith was great, but he wasn't a go-to wide receiver. He was not a guy you could throw the ball up and your receiver will go get it. And they never had that guy. They had that guy once, and it was one season. And it was the kid from Florida State that just had one good year and then he died.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think They don't give him his flowers. I think people shit on him because it's off the field and the New
But you
England
see,
stand.
exactly. That's you see that's why. It's not. It has nothing to do with Cam Newton on the field. It has nothing to do. It has to do with they don't like Cam Newton's personality. They don't like Cam Newton as a person. And I mean, what more do you want? The guy. I mean, you can go back to his days at Florida. Cam Newton was an asshole, but that's why he left. That's why he got kicked out of Florida, but he transferred over to Auburn, and the rest is history. So I don't think there's much to break down about Cam Newton. Now, the interesting thing I'm just waiting on right here. Why are we talking about Cam Newton? Like where did Cam Newton sign? What team is he going to be on?
I don't know, man. And
are we talking about is anybody? No one's going to sign Cam. No one's going to sign Cam Newton if he hasn't signed already. No one's going to sign him. Like I said, the guy's 2 years removed from football. That's 2 years of 2 years for a guy that was not exactly the greatest. I mean, he it's not like he was football oriented when he was playing. When he was playing, it was if I have the ball, it was backyard football.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, I think the best year he had is the MVP year. We get that, but I think he still got some tread. Maybe I'm just a delusional fan for him. I loved him as
doesn't have any. There's nothing left in the tank to bring in Cam Newton. Now, if you bring in Cam Newton and you say, yeah, take a veteran minimum contract, I don't even.
I think you do that.
I don't even know what that is, but I don't think to have Cam Newton as your. The thing is, having Cam Newton on your roster doesn't help it only helps your roster if your guy gets hurt. I mean,
I think
is Cam Newton going to teach? If you're a team that signs him, you're going to be it's going to be a team that has a young guy at quarterback. That hey, if this guy gets hurt, we need to put in somebody who can do it. But at that, is Cam Newton going to teach your young quarterback? No, he's not. So
that's what I'm saying.
There's no point in having him on the roster.
He have to go to a secure quarterback, like somebody like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is not going to get uncomfortable by Cam Newton. You know what I mean? He got to go somewhere in that situation like that. He can't go by a young quarterback.
Yeah, and they don't need a backup quarterback. So.
I thought Chad Moore retired. Matt Moore retired.
Yeah, the Chiefs don't need a back. They don't need a backup quarterback like that though. They just need a backup. They just need a competent back. They just need a guy that they can bring in. They could draft a guy in the 6th round and pay him dirt cheap, and put him as your backup quarterback because Pat Mahomes ain't coming out of that game.
No, we already witnessed that. But
yeah,
let's go into the second topic. Rudy Gobert, the cheap shot. What's your thoughts about that?
Anytime you punch your own teammate, that's that's just a recipe for disaster. And I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves just crumbled right before our eyes. I mean, what the hell? Somebody needs to get into the ear of the Minnesota Timberwolves and say, guys, yeah, it sucks. You dropped from 6 down to 8. You're still in a position where if you win 1 out of the next 2 games, you're in the playoffs. I mean, right now, if there weren't a play-in, you would be in the playoffs. Why are you imploding like this? Why are you so mentally unprepared that we got the 8th seed and now you're gonna fight your own teammates? You got guys going out with injuries that that they could probably play through, but they're just not going to do it. And the infighting and all of that, it just shows you. It just shows you the lack of maturity in Minnesota, and there's a reason why Minnesota never make. Yeah, they made the playoffs last year. It was the first time in like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why organizations. It's a reason why organizations like Minnesota exist. This is the reason, because they have no grip on what they're supposed to be. But like I said, their playoff chances right in front of them. Win one game. Beat the Lakers, you're in. You lose to the Lakers. Oh, well, we go to the next round of the play-in, win the next play-in game against the other two teams that are in it. Win that game and you're in the playoffs. Win one of your next 2 games and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it makes no sense what they're doing.
It definitely doesn't make any sense. And now they're out down maybe Rudy Gobert and McDaniels, because McDaniels busted his hand. He broke his hand.
Yeah, he broke his hand punching a wall.
So
why? Why were you punching a wall? Again, you finished 8th. It's not like you finished, I could understand if you finished 11th and missed and have no shot at the playoffs anymore. Yeah, fine. Punch however many walls you want. But you're 8th. You have at least 2 more games left. Why are you so adamant about this? It doesn't make any sense. And I clicked on the wrong thing.
Yeah, man, it's just I don't understand it, man. You know what it kind of remind me of? Amari. Remember when he punched the fire hydrant?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not the fire hydrant. It was the fire extinguisher. Was it the fire extinguisher glass or something like that?
Yeah, it was a fire extinguisher. There was a fire extinguisher. He punched a fire extinguisher.
So, man, it's just a lot of craziness going on. I think this helped the Lakers. You're down 2 players, possibly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it helps. Absolutely, it helps the Lakers. You take Rudy Gobert out of the middle. Well, if you're Darwin Ham right now, you're saying give the ball to Anthony Davis because they don't have anybody else that can stop him.
And how do you feel about the late signing of Tristan Thompson? And I think Shaquille, what's his name? I forgot the guy's name that they signed.
He helps bolster that Lakers bench. Gives them somebody who can play inside when Anthony Davis is not on the floor. It really doesn't move the meter for the Lakers, but it does what every team needs at this point in the season. It just gives them depth and a guy who's been there, a guy who has playoff experience. So that's really all it helps the Lakers. But they're sitting pretty in as far as this play-in tournament goes because Minnesota is just, like I said, destruction. They just destroyed themselves for no reason. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make any sense. But again, you gotta play with the hands you got now. So it's definitely going to be interesting play-in tournament. But I feel like Minnesota fell off when they got Flip. They fired Flip Sanders. God rest his soul. RIP to him. And what else I thought they was missing in that front office because I loved him so much? Kevin McHale. Remember when he was with them? Help mode. KG to this day said, Kevin McHale taught me the game, how to play it correctly on that block. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? When they lost them 2 people, Minnesota haven't been the same ever since. Their 2 left that organization.
Minnesota is just like I said. There's a reason why teams like Minnesota exist, and this is why. This is why when people ask, "Oh, will Minnesota ever win?" No, they won't because they allow things like this, and they do things. They do things like this. Oh, we got the 8th seed, and they pout and all of that. No, you got the 8th seed. You got a chance to make the playoffs. Go make the best of it.
And how do you feel about? I'm hearing reports they're signing. They're trying to sign Ume Doku to the Pistons because they're trying to get rid of. I heard they're going to fire Casey after this year. What's your
Okay.
thoughts about that? I think that's a young group. I think he can mold that team.
Can the Pistons get any players on the court? That's what. Like, and we knew this. We knew Ume Udoka. You know he was going to get another job. You knew all of that. The Ume Udoka situation, we talked about it over the summer. It got blown way out of proportion. Everything that happened was it should have been handled internally by the Celtics. It should have just been, something that the Celtics took care of, but it ended up blowing up into a story. And then, of course, once that 4-letter network got a hold of it, it took a whole different meaning. And then the Me Too generation jumped in and but does that mean Ume Udoka doesn't deserve to be on an NBA sidelines ever again? No. We knew he was going to come back. The question is just where. And would it be good for Detroit? Sure. I mean, would be great. It would be great for Detroit.
And we've seen worse situations than his situation. You know what I mean? We could talk about Isaiah Thompson's situation with New York. You know what I mean? I don't want to go all the way into it, but you remember when that happened with the sexual harassment cases and all that cases he had going on when he was with New York as executive. So, you know what I mean? So it's countless stuff that had way worse than what he did. At the end of the day, that lady was consensual to the situation.
Yeah. I mean, it takes two to tango in Ume Udoka's. I mean, when you bring up an Isaiah Thomas, we're talking about unwanted advances. That's totally different than what Ume Udoka did. I mean, Ume Udoka, they just, he was sleeping with somebody else's wife. Like, yes, morally terrible, and you can, but that doesn't mean the guy gets condemned for the rest of his life. Like, he got his suspension from the Celtics, he's got his release from the Celtics. If you want to bring him in, just tell the owner, just keep your wife away from the coach's room.
That's simple. It. Pretty simple to me.
It's that simple.
That's pretty simple to me. But you know what I mean? I just find it is another report also. Steven Silas of the Houston Rockets is getting fired. He won't return. I'm hearing peer sources of ESPN.
That's what happens when you have the worst record in the league.
Yeah.
That's. I mean,
I think Chauncey's going to get another chance, though. I think Chauncey's going to get another chance.
I think Chauncey should get a chance. I think Chauncey should get a chance. I think there's a lot of options for Houston, but for a team like that, I mean, they decimated their entire roster. They built their entire team around Chris Paul and James Harden, and now that they're not there, they've got to replenish that talent pool. There's only one way. There's only two ways you can do that. It's either sign big free agents or draft a top player. And right now, they're going to have a chance to draft somebody. So,
what about a Houston legend, a strong guard from back in the day, one of them championship teams? How about Sam? Sam Cassell? What about that? He's earned his opportunity. He's been on a lot. He's been with Doc for what, 20 years, close to 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, he's learned under a pretty good coach. And Houston would embrace Sam Cassell. So there's really not, like I said, there's a lot of options that Houston can do. But again, it's the same thing I said about Detroit. It doesn't matter who you put behind the bench if the guys on the court can't play. You have to get guys on the court first, and then you worry about who's behind the bench. So bring in whoever you want, but if you don't have the horses, you can't ride.
You're definitely right about that. Um, you're definitely right about that, Deets. Let's go on some NFL draft stuff. Yes, just talk about the NFL draft, Deets.
All right.
Go ahead, break it down. Who's on your board? What's your board looking like right now? Hey, what's your thoughts about that cornerback? I was watching a little bit of NFL Network. That's the only thing I really like to watch, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And this interesting guy named Jason McCourty was breaking down this corner out of Illinois. I forgot his last name.
The kid from Illinois. Yeah.
Runs a 4.2 flat in his pro day. And I found some interesting news. He said he started playing football in high school his junior year.
Yeah. Let me just get, because he's on here. I know he's on there. Yeah, Devin Witherspoon.
What's your thoughts about him?
I think he had obviously he's got the speed. Obviously he's got all of that going for him. As far as where he ranks on my cornerback list, I have him in the mid-teens as far as just corners.
Okay.
So because of his athleticism, yeah, I would look at him 3rd, 4th round, bring him in as a nickel kind of corner, and hope you can get something bigger out of him. But I mean, when you look at the cornerback position, I mean, obviously it starts and ends with Joey Porter Jr.
Oh, okay.
Because Joey Porter, he'll come in as a corner, but you can play him. You can play him on the outside. You could play him inside corner. You could put him at safety if you wanted to. Joey Porter is the versatile kind of guy, and I love guys who like Antoine Winfield, guys who Asante Samuel Jr. Guys who have those kind of names, they tend to trend pretty well.
So you like him more at the nickel.
I like Joey Porter. Any corner that you bring in, I'd like to start them at the nickel position to let them get accustomed to the game.
Okay.
Now you bring a guy, you see what happened. You bring a guy like Sauce Gardner in, you can put him over there and let Sauce Gardner do his thing.
Okay.
Joey Porter, not really that kind of guy to where I'm going to say, Joey, go on an island and be your own guy. I'd rather have Joey Porter on that nickel where I can use his versatility to help me out. But I can also move him to the outside if I have to. But I'd like to start him inside. And then, you got guys like Ricks from Alabama. You got Ringo from Georgia. If you're gonna take a corner, you really look for. I really look at SEC guys because they're the ones that have been going against the top level talent and shut down guys. So that's where I would look at corner. But as far as Witherspoon is concerned, he's got the athleticism, so he can. The question's going to be technique and all of that, and that's why I say he's going to be a third. He's going to be probably a 3rd rounder. If he slips to the 4th round, he's a steal. So it's that's where I put a guy like that.
Okay. What linebacker do you think is pro ready right now? Besides Will Anderson.
There's a difference between Will Anderson and a linebacker. When you ask me about linebacker, are you talking a typical linebacker? Because Will Anderson is an edge player where he can play linebacker, he can play outside, he can play defensive end in a pass rushing situation.
Okay,
When I look at a
linebacker.
linebacker, I'm thinking more of a middle linebacker. I'm thinking more of a guy who's going to be in the middle and just be in the middle the whole time.
All right, what's the best pure linebacker you got on your
Pure
team?
linebacker. I'm looking at Jack Campbell. I love Jack Campbell from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do you like about him? And give me a comp.
I like his instincts for getting to the football. And you watch his game. You watch the game tape against Ohio State. Iowa had no business being in that game.
Mm-hmm.
No business even being in that game, except for the fact that Iowa played lockdown defense. And Campbell was a big part of that. He was coming up, filling holes, making hits, forced a fumble. He was around the football all day long, even in a game where, eventually Ohio State just was too much for them because they didn't have any offense. If they had any sort of offense, Iowa probably wins that game. But the defense was on their heels the entire game, and that showed me this kid has the talent. As far as a comparison, it's hard to put guys into, this guy fits this one. You know who I actually do this, and I have no problem saying this. I'd say he's a Leighton Vander Esch type player.
Okay.
And the Cowboys took a reach on Leighton Vander Esch in the first round, and it paid out.
You know what I think he's like? I don't think he's had the explosiveness, but I kind of give him like a Luke Kuechly, like a great value Luke Kuechly, where he gets to the ball real quick.
He's not the tackler, Luke Kuechly.
No. I'm just what I said.
Luke Kuechly was
a tackle machine.
And when Luke Kuechly came out at Boston College, you knew he was something special. You knew he was special, and that's why Luke Kuechly went. I believe he went 8th overall to Carolina. He was something special. Like I said, Jack Campbell's not that kind of guy where you're going to draft him in the top 10. That's why I say he's more of a Leighton Vander Esch, where you're going to take him. If on my board, I have him going 20 or below.
Okay.
20 or below, he would be a perfect fit. You draft him any higher than that, you're expecting way too much. You draft, if he gets to the second round, he's a steal.
So where would you like to see him? Would you like to see him on a America's team?
The Cowboys are set at linebacker, so would I like to see them? If they drafted him, would I say, they've done this before where they drafted Leighton Vander Esch, even though they had Javon Smith there. Mm-hmm. Well, Smith is gone. They have Vander Esch. They have Micah Parsons. They have all that set on defense. As I've said with the Cowboys, if the Cowboys are going to draft a defensive player, draft a safety. And I just mentioned him before. Draft Joey Porter Jr. That's what I would be doing if I'm the Cowboys. And that's if Joey Porter drops far enough for the Cowboys to get him. If he's on the board, Cowboys should take him. You could play him, like I said, play him at corner. You could put him at safety, to help out because, as I was saying last week, Diggs is a great corner. Mm-hmm. But he takes his philosophy is live fast, take chances. Mm-hmm. When you play that way, you get beat a lot. When he guesses right, it looks awesome. When he guesses wrong, he gets beat and it gets burned. So you have to have competent guys on the back end to make up for those risk-taking opportunities. And I don't want to say mistakes because that's just the way that he plays. And you can't tell a guy like Diggs, hey, sit back, don't be aggressive, because you take his entire game away. And then he's not the player he's supposed to be. He's thinking too much. Go out there, react the way you are, because we have guys on the back end that'll clean it up for you. That's the way you want to play. But as far as teams that need linebackers, if you're drafting a linebacker, I'd take Jack Campbell. Noah Swell from Oregon, another big, beefy linebacker. But and also I like Cody Simon from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
As I said on that other program that you don't like to mention, if you're going to draft a linebacker, you're going to draft a middle linebacker. Draft a guy from the Big Ten. You'll be okay. You know, if you're hesitant on which guy to take, if they played in the Big Ten, take them.
I like the Big Ten and SEC. That's where I'm getting my defensive players from. Like I can't. But
absolutely, and the SEC, you're going against that kind of stuff all the time. But in the Big Ten, you know, the SEC, we're seeing a lot of spread offenses. We're seeing a lot more of that. In the Big Ten, you're still banging with bodies. That's still the conference. No matter what, you're going to be banging heads with people all day long, and that's what you want to see from a linebacker. A middle linebacker needs to be able to fill holes and just clean up people, and that's why I say if you have a question about a guy, if you're like, oh, which guy do I take? If they played in the Big Ten, they get extra points for that.
And you know what I mean? Right now, for my team, I want them to draft a free safety. You know what I mean? Especially after what we lost this offseason. I like Jabril, but I like him more at the strong safety play in a package or a linebacker package. But I don't want him as a full-time free safety. I like Kyle Duggar at the strong too, but we definitely need help at that safety position.
Yeah, that's a problem with this draft is the safety position. There's not much at the safety position that you're going to bank on. And there's a couple guys that you take and you hope that they get there, but there's not much. This draft is hard on corners, and that's why I say you could take a corner. Move them to free. You take a corner that you can move to free safety. The versatility would be big, but you don't have guys who are physically you're going to put in and be like, all right, this guy we draft him, he'll be our free safety day one. There's not many guys in this draft that will fill that role.
I got a question for you because I'm looking at the Patriots www.patriots.com. What's your thoughts about Zay Flowers? I'm seeing that Bill loves him.
Wide receiver, Boston College.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about him?
Well, now that you say Bill loves him, that scares me a lot.
No, not Bill. I see Bill talking to I think at Pro Day he was talking to Quentin Johnston too.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts about him?
I'm just saying, Coach Bill. Not great on recognizing wide receiver talent.
Okay.
I
give you that.
His track record speaks for itself. Drafting, he drafts great on other positions, wide receiver. So, but no, Zay Flowers got caught up in all the chaos that happened with Boston College this year. Boston College just dropped off the face of the earth. But not because of this kid. And Zay Flowers is now I just want to get his – I'm just using this to get his stats because I know he's on here. Where's Boston College? There he is. Yeah, 5'10". Of course he's a Bill kind of guy. 5'10", 180.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of right in Bill's wheelhouse But the thing about him is strong hands and will fight for the football. And that's what you want from a wide receiver, especially a guy who's undersized. You need a guy who attacks the football.
Okay. And somebody else is on projected list for the draft. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. What's your thoughts about him?
Well, the Patriots have been talking about him. They love him. they've been talking about him for a while, and I think that would be another move on Bill's part of just taking a gamble on a small school, on a taking a gamble on an inside potential. Broderick Jones is a great guard. I think there's a lot of talk of moving him to a tackle position. I don't think that would be the best move. I think the best move for him is keep him at guard, slide him inside, and let him do his thing. So
I like right guard because we already good at left.
You need two. You know,
I know.
You need two.
I like Cole at the. I like Cole at the left though.
Whether you can play right or left guard, you gotta have two guards, and it never hurts to have an offensive line. It never hurts to have extra offensive linemen.
Okay. What about and this is real crazy to me. They're talking about throwing a flyer on Anthony Richardson. What you think about that?
I'm not high on Anthony Richardson, and the Patriot. By the time the Patriots draft Anthony Richardson, I think somebody's gonna fall in love with Anthony Richardson. After what this guy did at the combine, and I've said this all the time talking about Anthony Richardson. He is an amazing athlete. He looks great in shorts and a t-shirt. And on the football field, you watch his highlight. Yeah, his highlight reel looks great. The problem with Anthony Richardson is his low light tape is god awful. And I've said this. I watched 2 games last year, Kentucky and LSU, where a starting quarterback played 4 quarters for a Florida team and did not throw for 100 yards. Didn't pass for 100 yards against those. So that is very telling to me about this guy. Either it tells me his accuracy is not there, and when you watch the tape, his accuracy is not there. And it also tells me his instinct is first sign of trouble, I'm bailing. Now I'm running. You can't live that way in the NFL. That will destroy you in the NFL. You have to be able to manipulate from the pocket, and you have to be accurate. And Anthony Richardson doesn't have either of those things.
Okay.
However, his athleticism's off the charts. So of course that's something Bill would be interested in. But I don't, to me, Anthony Richardson's not a first round quarterback. But you look at all the stuff that surrounds him and all the push that he's gotten, somebody in the top 15 is going to take a gamble on him.
Okay, let's move along to the cornerback position. They got us projected also to pick this guy, Deonte Banks, out of Maryland, the cornerback. Bills is saying, be Trabasco analyzed. He said Bills love his athleticness, his press man coverage. So what you think about this move right here, Deonte Banks?
Yeah,
out of Maryland.
Yeah, I'm just looking up his stats right now to see. A Maryland corner.
Look what we did with JC though. Look what we did with JC. Bill.
Yeah. I mean, if Bill, I'm not one to go against Coach Bill on a defensive back. Again, this is the complete opposite of his wide receiver. Coach Bill knows defensive backs. That's the one position he knows, and he knows well. So I'm just looking this up here. Yeah, the thing about Deonte Banks is again young kid, a lot of talent. So Bill and Bill likes to get those guys, young guys and they're probably talking about getting him 4th, 5th round, somewhere around there.
Because we definitely need it. Jonathan, what's the guy's name? Damn, our corner, Jonathan. What's his name? Jones. He's getting up there. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So we need a replacement. We got too much speed in our division.
That's what the 4th, 5th, and 6th round is for. The 4th, 5th, and 6th round is you bring guys in who are. We need depth, and what positions do you need depth at? Defensive back and offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go with those kind of guys to build the depth of your team. And then if a guy that you have rated high on your board happens to fall, you take him in the 4th, in the 5th, 4th, 5th, or 6th round, or a guy that we could gamble on this guy. If this guy's got so much potential, we take him. If he pans out, awesome. If he doesn't, it's not a big deal. It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing in the world.
And they also got us projected to get that boy Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, but I don't see him being there.
Yeah, I just talked about him. I mean,
I don't see him being there.
I think he'll be. Like I said, I have him in the mid range. And like I said, he's got the speed. It's just he needs a lot of technique work.
And I think we can give that to him. And we also got us projected to try to grab Bijan Robinson. What's your thoughts about that?
Bijan Robinson won't be around for the unless the Patriots are going to take him in the 1st round.
Nah,
he won't get out of the 1st round.
I don't think that's going to happen.
And Bijan Robinson is the top running back in this class.
I'll take Blake. I'll take.
I know there's a lot of options as far as
running backs.
Like you said, Blake Corum. I love Blake Corum.
I like that running back.
Blake Corum all year long. I talked about him all year long. Love Blake Corum. But Bijan Robinson Blake Corum's not a running back you can give the ball to 25, 26 times running off tackle. Blake Corum is a guy that you bring into your team. He'll be your scat back. He'll be your, 3rd down back. If he can learn how to block at the NFL level, he can be brought in. He'll be more of a receiving type. He's a versatile type player. Bijan Robinson will be your every down. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball 26, 27 times, and he's going to crash the hole. That's Bijan Robinson, and that's the kind of back that you need. I don't see him getting out of the 1st round. In an old school style draft, he probably would have been a top 10 pick. With the new NFL, he's probably going to be somewhere in the 15 to 25 range. And when you consider that last year the 1st running back wasn't taken till the 2nd round, that tells you the kind of talent BJ Robinson has. That he is a mid-level mid-round in the 1st round.
And I like this pick too if we can get him. Peter Skarlinoski out of Northwestern. He could play
Northwestern, big-time tackle.
He could play guard and center. I would love this pick because Dave Andrews been nicked, for a few years. He's always hurt. So if somebody can play center, tackle, guard. You need that versatility on that line.
I think it all depends on what happens at the top. Mm-hmm. What happens at the top of the draft will tell you whether or not these guys on my board. Skronsky won't be. I'm taking Skronsky in the top 10.
Okay.
I got him the second tackle off the board, and if I'm in a draft room, I could be talked into taking him as the 1st tackle off the board. So, but it all depends on what happens with those top. Carolina made the trade. They made the trade. We know they're going quarterback. Houston, we know they're going quarterback. It's going to be, does another quarterback come off the board somewhere in the next? I've seen mocks where the top 5 picks are quarterbacks. If that happens, there's a lot of talent left on the board. And that leaves people like Skronsky to that fall. They're just going to fall. Because you can't have that. To me, there's not that many quarterbacks. But if people reach and take quarterbacks like a Will Levis, like an Anthony Richardson, if those guys do end up getting drafted, well, it opens slots up, and who know, by the time that happens, we don't know how the dominoes fall to break that up. So like I said, I think that would be he'd be a great fit for anybody. I think he would upgrade anybody's offensive line, but I don't think he'll last to the Patriots.
What about Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle for Ohio State? What you think about him?
Paris Johnson's number one. Paris Johnson right now is the number one on my list for tackles.
So he's going to be out of there. You think he's going to be out there top?
Like I said, I could be talked into taking the Northwestern kid over Paris Johnson. I could be talked into that, but right now, if it's up to me and I got both choices, I'm going with Paris Johnson because Paris Johnson is bigger, more athletic, and looks like, from the look of it, and from his film tape, I could see a lot more with Paris Johnson. There's more upside to Paris Johnson than there is with the Northwest. The Northwestern kid, you know what you're getting. With Paris Johnson, you could get a mid-level guy, or you could get a guy who will be there, your left tackle for the rest of his career. That's how good that kid is. So that's the potential, and that's kind of what you're looking at.
Before we get out the draft, what's some positions would you like to see your Cowboys address in the draft? You think are glaring positions?
I think two positions stand out. I said safety. I've been saying safety for 5 years now, and they just don't seem to want to address it. But that's one spot. Offensive line, Cowboys have had mix and match offensive lines all the time, so always get more linemen in. But also running back. You got rid of Zeke. Now, what you do with Zeke? I've seen reports where the Cowboys released them, and they're going to wait till after the draft and actually re-sign Zeke to a better contract. I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, if that doesn't happen, why not have a guy? Why not have a guy like a Tank Bigsby from Auburn? You have the speedster and Pollard. You need another guy who can bang in there. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at for the Cowboys. Position wise, I'm looking safety, offensive line, running back, and probably a defensive tackle at some point.
What defensive tackle stands out for you in this draft?
Well, I mean, there's differences of what stands out.
I mean,
and what the Cowboys can actually do. But
fits the Robert Quinn defense really well.
I mean, there's no question. There's no question about it. And I know this guy's going to get killed off the field. His off the field garbage. Jalen Carter's off the field garbage. For some reason, people are going to just hate on. I know he had, a situation, and it was a dire situation, the drag racing situation that he had going on, and that really hurt. That really got played up. The kid on the field is a monster. So I don't see any problems with him. Brian Breesy from Clemson, very mature guy. He's a guy I would look to. But the real guy you really have to look at is Macy Smith from Michigan. And the reason why you cannot overlook him is let me just read you some numbers. 6'3", 330.
Jesus.
Yeah, you can't overlook those. And this guy was dominant at Michigan too. Kind of trailed off towards the end of the season. So they're gonna have to work on his conditioning and being a guy, but that's why I say he can be a guy that you run in there as a spot nose tackle. So those are the guys I'd be looking at in the defensive line.
Are you about to take a quick commercial break, and we about to have Dietz on, break down some Hollywood movies and TV, some whatever you want to go. We're gonna let Dietz drive the ship on this. We want to take a quick commercial break.
Into my wheelhouse.
And we be right back. Hey, welcome back to Rod's Uncensored Podcast. Make sure you hit that like button. Welcome back. Welcome back to Midday Sports with Rod and Lunch Crew. We got Fifth Down Sports also here. We're going to break down some Hollywood movies and where Hollywood went wrong. Go ahead, Dietz.
Oh, yeah, we'll start with where they went wrong last week with,
before you go into this, did you see what the numbers Mario did in the first week?
I did. That's part of the good. That's part of the good part of Hollywood. But of course, the Hollywood can't leave its weekend alone. Of course, Star Wars Celebration over in London, announcement of a new trilogy coming out, starring, of course, Ray Palpatine. And you can't make this up. Kathleen Kennedy just can't get out of her own way. Let's do this. Then they released the Ahsoka trailer, which is basically women are good, men are bad. And that's going to be the end of that. That's going to be the entire show. And then they're planning a Rey and Ahsoka getting together after. Star Wars, like I said, Star Wars is dead. No one's going to be buying into this crap. And they released this like it was the biggest thing they've ever done. It's just more of the same garbage. More of the same garbage that they continue to put out. So that's the Star Wars news. If you're happy that you're going to get a new Rey trilogy, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's everybody I have seen. I have not seen one person excited about this. Even the sequel trilogy fans are like, no, this isn't going to be. And of course, they leave it as Rey is going to be the Jedi Master. No, she's not. She's never trained as a Jedi. She's never been a Jedi. How is she going to become a master without anybody to teach her? Her teacher was a guy sitting on a rock drinking green titty milk. Get out of here. She's not going to become a master of the Force by osmosis. Like that's not how it works. You have to actually be trained to become a master. So I don't see that. And I don't see how anybody else could learn from Rey. Like, who is she going to teach? How is she going to teach somebody, here's how the Force works? Because she never was taught it. She never taught it. She just did it. It was in her. It's why superstars are so hard to become coaches. They just knew things just came to them. Like their skills came to them and they used their superior skills to be better than everybody else. It's not like they had to sit there and work at it and figure out how to. No, the superstar doesn't have to do that. The superstar has it already. They just do. And you can't tell somebody, hey, do what I do, because they're not you. They don't have your talent. That's not how it works. So that's going to be the Rey trilogy. And I swear, when this hits, the first movie is going to be telling. Like Force Awakens, everybody was pumped for, it's a new Star Wars. They saw that and all hell broke loose.
That's why
when this movie comes out, everybody's already turned off, and they're going to be like, the only people watching this are going to be people that want to go in and rip it to shreds. And it's going to get ripped to shreds because it's Lucasfilm and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
It's been really a rough year for movies, man.
It's only gonna get worse, because not only did they release Star Wars at the Star Wars Celebration, they also released the trailer for Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. And you can't make this stuff up.
I didn't like the last one.
Bridge is going to take the mantle from Harrison Ford. Come on now.
It's been rough.
It's laughable. But it got better. Because of a guy, of an Italian plumber, and Super Mario dominated the box office. Look, I went to the movies on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
And I'll talk to you more about that in a minute, but I went to the movies to see a different movie other than Super Mario. Mm-hmm. I was tempted to go see Super Mario and then see the movie that I was there to see. I was tempted to go see both, but I didn't have the time or the money to do that. So I'll probably see Super Mario at some point, but Super Mario, the movie I went to, was playing in one theater. Super Mario was in 3 theaters. At the movie I went to, they had 3 of them. All 3 were sold out. And there were people. There were so many people there with Mario shirts on, with dressed in Mario gear, that they had their kids with them. That movie, it's speaking to people. And Mario is one of those things. It's the test of time. People my age remember playing Super Mario on a Nintendo. People, people who have kids, they're like, "Oh, I want to go see this because this was a game I grew up with." They're bringing Super Mario Kart. Their kids who have grown up, who are playing Mario on whatever the handheld Nintendo thing is now.
Switch.
The Switches, yeah, they have Mario. I mean, you have so many things that Mario is involved in. It crosses generations, and that's why this movie is killing it. And that's why this movie is great. And from what I've heard, is the movie doesn't play into that Hollywood. We're uncensored, and it doesn't play into the Hollywood bullshit. It is, and that's one thing that Nintendo never does.
You remember how terrible that '90s movie was.
That '90s movie was terrible, but that's because it was not it was unsanctioned by Nintendo. All right. Nintendo is a Japanese company.
My boy Dev, yo. Hey, yo, what you think about Odell? What do you think about that Odell signing?
Odell. I want to hear what Ravens fans think about Odell. I do want to. I want to hear. I saw Odell, and he was talking to. Who's he talking to? He was talking to Lamar Jackson.
Hey Dev, if you're free, can you call in and give your quick thoughts about it?
Last time I checked, Lamar Jackson doesn't want to play quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. That's the last thing Lamar. The last thing Lamar said is trade me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does he want to be traded now that Odell Beckham's there? So I want to know. I want to know what Lamar's thinking right now. Is Lamar still going to be their quarterback or what? Because they did sign Odell 1 year, $18 million. That's a chunk of that. That's a nice chunk of change to put on a guy. And if you don't have Lamar throwing him the ball, what really does this do for the Ravens? Does it make the Ravens any better? I think so.
Okay. There's my boy Dev. Hey, Dev. I appreciate you coming on real quick, man. Just give me your quick thoughts. I know you're probably working or something, man. Give me your quick thoughts about this signing.
For Odell, man, for our wide receiver room, it looks good. Now you bringing in some more talent, more leadership, veteranship, that can hopefully lead Bateman, Duvernay, this year. Bringing Odell most definitely is going to open up Mark Andrews, even though Mark Andrews was already like 7-11 already.
Mm-hmm.
But now bringing in another actual wide receiver threat, that's going to open up Mark Andrews, and that's going to open up our running game even more now. You know what I mean? Now Dobbins and Edwards can have a peaceful backfull season this coming up year. So it looks good. It you know what I mean? It's a trend because it looks like that's something that Lamar had put a request on for him to stay, is get me help. If you show me something that y'all can get me some help down here, then maybe this contract negotiation can go a little different now. So it's a good move. I like the move so far.
I think it helps Bateman out because he can learn, master his craft a little bit better with somebody can run really crisp routes. We can give Odell that. He's a crisp route runner. He's not this a fly and go type of guy. He can run inside, outside, whatever you want him to do. You know what I mean? And I got an episode coming out today. I think he could easily give, 900 yards, maybe like 5 TD a year. I think Odell could do something like that.
I'm not gonna give him the 900. I'm not gonna give him that. I'm not trying to disrespect him either, but coming into you took a whole year off last year.
I think that leg healthy though. I think that leg is healthy.
It's gonna be healthy, but you don't want to run him in a hole. You know what I mean? You don't want him to get hurt around week 7, week 8. You know what I mean? You kind of want to coast him. So I can give him a 700 yards, maybe the 5 touchdowns. I can see him about 70 receptions this year. Because, like I said, you're still not going to take away Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is still your security blanket. So I can see him get 70 catches, about 700 yards, 5 touchdowns. I give him that.
Okay. While we just got done talking about the NFL draft, what players would you like to see them go after in the draft? What positions?
Still wide receiver. Still. You can never be too much lower than a wide receiver. I like TCU Quentin Williamson. My fault.
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
I most definitely like him. He's 6'3", 208, so he's a big physical wide receiver. He also can show burst of speed, and I think he can show that he can run route trees very well. So I wouldn't be too bad if they can pick another wide receiver up. But on the defensive end, I want Joey Porter Jr.
Everybody,
I think he is a perfect fit for us. He's also 6'3", about 2-something. So that lets me know that he's a big corner. He's not going to be playing off coverage a lot. That means he like to get physical. If he had that attitude like his pops,
oh
man.
My God. Oh man, he's about to give me cold chills. That boy was disrespectful.
So you can give me those two in the draft, and I think the Ravens can be good, and the pass rusher. I don't know too many top pass rushers this year.
I'd love the Ravens to draft Joey Porter Jr. just so they could show his pops in the crowd in Ravens gear.
Yeah.
Show Joey Porter wearing that Ravens gear. Oh, that's must see TV right there.
Yeah, that'll be something to see right there, because them Steelers don't want to wear them purples, boy. I tell you.
Well, I know we got you on borrowed time, man. What's your thoughts about our matchup this Tuesday against the Timberwolves? How do you feel about that? And how do you feel about them, signing Tristan Thompson for a playoff run?
Matchup with the Timberwolves should be a good matchup. Honestly, the Timberwolves gave the Lakers trouble all season. It wasn't until the end of the season where we can finally sweep one from underneath of them. But it should be a good matchup, as we can all see it's turmoil there between Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we can come into that drama and they can get out early as possible. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Tristan Thompson, I like the move. We needed another big body that can go and grab boards. I'm not expecting Tristan Thompson to put up points. That's never been his game.
Mm-mm.
But
great free throw shooter though.
Right. But for you to have another big body to grab boards to help AD out, I like that move. Because it looks like Mo Bamba is not going to be in the playoff roster, and I don't think Mo Bamba should be. If you want to go deep into the playoffs, you have to get a veteran who knows who knows his job. You know what I mean? And Tristan Thompson knows his job, and he knows how to play with LeBron very well. So I like the move.
And it's going to set us up for next year. DeMarcus Russell and Kyrie Irving in the backcourt next year.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie go to the Clippers.
Woo!
I wouldn't be surprised because, you know what I mean, Tyronn Lue is over there. He did coach Kyrie in the early part of his career. So I wouldn't be mad if they make that Russ and Kyrie swap. Russ out, Kyrie come in.
All right, I appreciate you, Dad, coming on quick, man. Let the people know your social media, when the next episode coming out, all that good stuff.
All right, man. Y'all already know, man. Y'all can catch me on my social media platforms. You can catch my Instagram at MTMO_sports podcast. You can catch my Twitter and Facebook at my THTS My Opinion. You can catch me on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podbean, any of those platforms. You can always catch me there. Episodes normally drop every Thursday. I am now working on episode 103, my 103rd thought. That will be out by this Thursday. But right now, y'all can catch my 102nd thought right now on YouTube and all the other platforms. So check me out.
Yo, go hit the subscribe button for me, Dad's podcast. He got good stuff over there. You know what I mean? He's not a journalist either. You know what I mean? He's not a journalist either. He give his honest truth, and that's why I appreciate him, man. And man, go hit that subscribe button and hit the like button over there, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Man, appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all go subscribe. Raw Uncensored Podcast, man. Funny dude, man. My guy, funny dude.
Hey, the Lakers going to the championship this year.
Hey, man, just to give you a little update on the show, on give you a little exclusive. I'm working on a round table, and Rod, you are invited.
Jeez, I'm not a journalist, but I'm invited to every cookout. I appreciate it.
I'm working on a round table coming soon, man, with a bunch of other different content creators or journalists, however you want to call it. You know what I mean? But round table for MTMO coming real soon.
All right, let me know, man. You know what I mean? You got my information. Let me know, and we can set this up. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a journalist. You know what I mean? You know my saying. I do for the people that's smoking backwoods in the trenches. Listen to my sport podcast. I'm not ESPN. I appreciate you, man. My dog. I see you later, man. Appreciate
you. Y'all be safe out here.
All right, thanks, Dev.
All right.
Raven. You know, the Raven. He wants to get all those. They're either going to have to get Quentin Johnson or Joey Porter. You're not going to get both. They're not going to fall that far. But so like I was saying, Super Mario killed it this weekend. But like I said, I was at the movies to see. And Rod, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but Michael Jordan killed it again. Air is the best. Air is the movie of the year. I will say that right now. I watched the whole thing. It was fantastic from start to finish. Now, the best thing about this movie is you say, oh, everybody says, oh, it's the Michael Jordan story. Michael Jordan, the guy playing Michael Jordan is in it for maybe 5 minutes. He's not. He's not even in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This movie is about it's about Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight and how Nike worked that deal out, how they got to Michael Jordan, and it was really about if you believe in your guys, if you own a company and you believe in your guys, let your guys do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody told Sonny Vaccaro, you're not going to get Jordan. You're not going to get Jordan. You don't waste your time. You're going to – and Sonny Vaccaro said, no, I've seen this guy play. He is the real deal. We have to get him. If we get him, he makes our company. If we don't, our company's going to die. And it was about that. It was more about that than it was about anything else. And just the way that they go about it, the way they do things. I mean, Matt Damon was awesome in it. Ben Affleck was great. Jason Bateman stole the show when he was in it. But the guy who showed up the best, and the two parts that were the best in this movie, Viola Davis as Jordan's mom was fantastic. And the story behind that is when they were making this movie and they asked Michael if they could make this movie, he said, you can make this movie, but Viola Davis has to play my mom. So Jordan made that call of have her play, and she was phenomenal in it. But the guy who stole the movie is Chris Tucker. You think of Chris Tucker, you think of, Rush Hour, Money Talks, like being a funny, like comedic role. Mm-hmm. Not comedic at all, but it's Chris Tucker, so there are parts that are funny, but they're not. It's a serious role. Chris Tucker nailed it. He was awesome. Every single performance was fantastic in this movie. I'll tell you right now, if you're thinking about building a company, if you're thinking about starting something, if you're thinking about doing something, chasing a dream, go watch this movie. That's what this is about. This movie was not about, it wasn't about, Michael Jordan. It wasn't about Nike. It was about Sonny Vaccaro and having conviction, having a dream, having a conviction, and saying, no, we're going to put it all on the line for this. I'm going to go. And once he said, I'm going to do this, flies out, goes to talk to the parents. When everybody tells him, don't do that, you're committing career suicide. No, I'm going to go. I'm going to talk to her. My favorite part of the movie is he's sitting down with Jordan's mom, and he's talking to her, and she's like, why are you here? And he goes, look, we just want to meet with you. We want to have a meeting. And she's like, no, we're not meeting with Nike. He doesn't want to sign with Nike. And he goes, all right, look, I'll make a bet with you. You're going to go in, you're going to talk to Adidas, you're going to talk to Converse. When you go in the meeting, they're going to all have red ties on. They're going to tell you this, they're going to tell you that. And he tells her what they're going to say. And he goes, when you go to Converse, they're going to tell you, we have stars, we make stars, they're going to treat you well. This is all that's going to happen. And then the very next scene, she goes to all the meetings, and they say exactly the same thing that he said. And they walk out of the meeting, and she goes, well, I guess we're going to Nike now because I made that bet. It was awesome. It was such a good movie. Everybody I saw at the theater I went to was packed. Everybody that saw it, they saw that the nostalgia is there. Everybody if you grew up in the 80s, all the 80s stuff is there. they show the old clip of the North Carolina shot about 900 times. And it was just a really good movie. And like I said, with all the crap that's coming out from Hollywood, this is the movie of the year. There's no question about it in my mind. And it's only the only thing that sucks is it's come out now. By the time we get to Oscar time, it might be forgotten. But the movie was so good, the performances were great, and the message was just it was above and beyond what I thought it was going to be.
You know what I mean? I appreciate these because I don't like that person, but I say this: a lot of people give me flack, but nobody ever gonna be able to surpass that shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever gonna surpass the shoe, and that's why I call them the GOAT of tennis signature shoes. I give that to him. I like the Penny Hardaway shoe, the foam posits. I like the Barclays, but you will see people right now at their wedding day with Jordans on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really a basketball shoe. It's a casual shoe. You know what I mean? You can't play basketball with them heavy shoes. I'm telling you right now. They're so heavy, you cannot play basketball with them. They're a casual streetwear basketball shoe. That's what I call them. They're more for like a casual setting. You go out. They're not a hooping shoe.
And I will say this. They the last scene, so the movie ends, and then they go on to tell you all the things about all the people in the movie. So it's like, Phil Knight, owner of Nike, $4 billion, blah, blah, all that. Sonny Vaccaro went on, testified at the Ed O'Bannon trial, was key to that. So they're telling all these stories. The last scene of the movie, Michael Jordan, greatest of all time. That's it. That's how the movie ends. That's just the end. That's the end shot of the movie. I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow.
There's a couple movies I'm excited to go watch. I'm ready to go see that George Foreman movie. I think George Foreman is in my top 5 heavyweights of all time. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about that movie. There's a couple other movies I'm excited about.
I just want to know in that movie, are they going to get to the cooker?
The cooker.
George Foreman, the grill.
Oh yeah, they got.
Are they going to talk grill? Are they going to talk grills in that movie? That's all I want out of the George Foreman.
He said he was about to get out there though. He was not going to do it originally, and I'm glad he did it because that grill was everywhere back in the day. Everywhere.
Got me through college, dude. That
everywhere.
That was fantastic. That's fantastic. The plug-in George Foreman grill.
Perfect for a steak. But Dietz, are we ever going to see this Blade movie? When is this Blade movie going to get produced?
We're never going. Blade's never coming out.
It's never going to come out.
Nope. They quit. Well, we're never going to see this Blade movie because the lead actor who played Blade, and the director walked off the set.
Wow.
They walked off the set. They saw the script. They saw the changes to the script that were made, and they said, we're not doing it. And then Marvel said, no, you have to do it. the rumor that I heard, and I heard that I heard this from watching Doomcock, another YouTuber. He's big on rumors. He's the one that spilled this. So, and from what I've seen so far, and the fact that we haven't heard a thing about Blade, I'm thinking this is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So what happened is, in the script, they wanted Blade's daughter to basically take the mantle. At the end, they basically wanted Blade to step aside for his daughter to become the vampire hunter. And that's when the director and the lead of the cast went, nope, went, no, this isn't Blade. This is not how this works. And they walked off the set. So from what I've heard, that movie is permanently in hold.
What about the
None of
Dracula?
those guys want to come back.
What about this Dracula movie, vampire movie with Nicolas Cage? What's your thoughts about that? I saw a trailer for that.
I saw the trailer this weekend. I saw the trailer when I was watching Air. I saw the trailer. That movie looks it looks really Nick Cage. I mean that's really all you can say about it. It looks like it's going to be crazy. It's going to be funny. It's basically Nick Cage running amok. But it does have some problems, as in Awkwafina is in the movie. And hopefully she's like Renfeld's girlfriend. So hopefully she can be kept, if her exposure's kept to a minimum, because Awkwafina's all right. Just she can't be in too many scenes. She's good in small doses, but to have her at long stretches, like Shang-Chi, you can't have her in long stretches of the movie. You just have to have her in random shots. So that's one bad thing. But I think that movie, I think it'll be good. If you like Nick Cage, you will like that movie. If you don't like Nick Cage, you will hate that movie. Because it's Nick Cage just running amok.
So, all right, Dietz, before we get out of here, what you have coming up this week?
This week, so we'll be going again. We'll be doing another Thursday night show, and well, we celebrated our championship last week, and we celebrated UConn's championship. Now it's big time. Now it's draft. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna release the big board. We're gonna talk about the players, and we're gonna break down the positions. So we're gonna break down the players by positions, and I'm trying to think. I have to see what the schedule looks like and how many shows I actually have before the actual draft, because draft day, I'll tell you this right now, draft day, it's going to be a Thursday. I'm going the entire draft. So I'll be presenting the entire time, watching the draft, breaking all that down. But up until then, we're gonna do players. I'll give you my big board. I'll give you where I think players. I'll give you probably my top 10 by position. I'll give you some sleepers at those positions, and then and we're gonna talk team needs at the same time. So between now and the draft, in some order, we're gonna be doing players, team needs, and mock draft. It's just a question of when and how we fit them in. So I might do team needs this week, do a mock draft next week, and then have the draft 3 weeks from now. But again, if I have the time, I'd rather do them one at a time. But if I have to squeeze them together, I'll squeeze them together.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Anybody's looking to come on this show, you know what I mean? I know I'm not a journalist, but I like next season for the NFL, I'd like to get a couple guys to come on with us, you know, me, Chris Dietz and myself, to talk some NFL and some other sports. So let me know. Hit me in my DM at Ron Center Podcast, or you can hit me on my personal Facebook, Rod Isaac, so we can get that down to talk some football, sports, wherever you want to go. I want to get
like we just had Dev on the show. Like you don't have to talk NFL. Talk your team.
Yeah, talk your team.
We want to know your team. We don't want to know, and we don't want to know, as much as we're talking here, like we don't want to know the journalist thing. We want to know what the fans are thinking. Mm-hmm. I do the same thing on Fit Down. I say, if you want to just come on and talk about your team, come on and tell us your team, because I want to know what the fans are thinking. Because, yeah, I follow the Dallas Cowboys, so I know the Dallas Cowboys. I live here in the Northeast, so I hear a lot of Giants stuff. I hear a lot of Patriots stuff. I hear a lot of Jets stuff.
And let me before we get
if
out.
you follow the Arizona Cardinals, I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're thinking about your team. I want to know what the Denver Bronco fan is thinking. I want to know what the New Orleans Saint fan is. I want to know what the fans are thinking, because I don't care about all this stuff. I mean, you talk about Carolina right now. They're talking about drafting C.J. Stroud. How do Panther fans feel about that?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
I can tell you right now, if my team was thinking about drafting C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young, I'd be throwing things at the TV. So, like I said, if you want to come on and talk your team, this is the place to do it. This is the area to do it. YouTube, all kind of Rod's show, my show, this show, any YouTube commentator. This is the place for fans, man. Get fans' point of view. We don't have to take Stephen A. Smith at his word. We can tell you what the fans are thinking. I don't have to take what's his name, the Adam Schefter. We don't have to take Adam Schefter, who I have all these reports. We don't need Adam Schefter. We don't need Adam Schefter to be, I have insiders in the I don't care what's going on in the Ravens office. I want to know what's going on the streets of Baltimore. What are people at the barbershop in Baltimore talking about?
And
what do they think about their team?
And that's why I like the fandom. I like people with fandom because it makes a better show. You know what I mean? I want your point of view. And if you're a little biased, I'm a little biased. Everybody's a little bit biased when it comes to their team. You know what I mean? I'm a traveling LeBron fan. I told people today, I really never had a NBA basketball team. I said, LeBron's last stop, I'm just going to stay here. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I just like basketball. I love NFL. I love doing other sports and combat sports. So we're gonna tackle that next year or next season. So, like, if you have something that anybody want to call in, long as you're respectful, don't use no homophobic slurs. This is uncensored show. You don't bring no politics in here. I don't care. Give me your point of view about your team. And you know what I mean? At the end of the day, because I'm not a journalist. And you know what I mean? Dietz, good job on that show I don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? I like your point of views on that show. And you know what I mean? I think that debate was closer than a lot of people thought it was. But that's here or there.
That was fun. That was fun. That was a fun time. It was a good time. I got a lot. I got a lot more there. Everybody's like, from what I've been told by everybody there, they said, oh man, you're killing it, but because you don't have stuff in the background. And I was like, dude, I'm in my spare room. I got enough trouble trying to decorate my living room. I'm in a spare room right now. I'm down.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy how people look. I don't got the most professional transitions. I don't got the most professional commercials. But at the end of the day, at the show is entertaining. Got a little bit of comedy. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm bringing a different flavor. You're bringing a different flavor. And it's not all about that glisten. It's about the substance at the end of the day.
It's like I've said on Fit Down. I'll say it on every show that I'm on. You want to come on? You think I say something? You think Rod says something wrong? You're welcome to come on. Tell us why you're wrong, because you're not going to change my opinion. You're not going to change Rod's opinion. We're going to give you our opinion. If yours is different, tell us why you're wrong. Because we just told you why we're wrong. Tell us why you're wrong. And it's okay. We can walk away at the end of the day. We don't have at the end of the discussion, we can go, all right, you said your piece, I said my piece, boom.
Mm-hmm. But we're about to get out of here. Let the people know what time you start on Thursday.
All right, Thursday, 9:00. I know it's late. I know it's late, but some of us work nights, and I think 9 o'clock works better for me. It just allows me to get myself in. I'm not rushing around, so I'm gonna go for 9 o'clock. If I end up going earlier, that's awesome. But like last week, we didn't start till 9:30. Hey, it happens. But we'll see how the week goes. But I'm planning for 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock on Thursday, Fit Down Sports Show. Get over to our channel, like, subscribe. A lot of stuff. And like I said, like and subscribe because NFL Draft Night, we will be there for the entire draft, breaking down every pick, everything. And you're more than welcome. Everybody is more than welcome. We're going to be on the stream the entire time. Everybody's allowed to jump in. You can call our show. You can jump on the video when your team is on the clock. After your team picks, come on, discuss your team, whether you like it, don't like it, whatever. We're now 6th year of covering the draft. We've seen it all, from people that were ecstatic to people that were swearing up a storm after their draft pick. So we've had it all, and we'll keep doing it. And that's it. April is all about the draft, so we'll be doing draft stuff.
Okay, man. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for Chris Dietz at Fifth Down Sports. Hit that like button, and man, go check them out this Thursday at 9:00 p.m. Eastern. And we're out of here, man. Hopefully y'all have a good day. Enjoy this nice weather on the on the East Coast. It's pretty sunny, but with a little bit of chill. So you have a good rest of your week, Chris Dietz, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely.